Have you ever found yourself wide awake in the middle of the night, eyes wide open, your mind racing with worst-case scenarios about the future? A text that hasn't been answered. A conversation that felt incomplete. Something that might happen, but somehow already weighs heavily on your heart. We call that feeling worry. But what if I told you, worry doesn't actually exist? That it's just an illusion created by the mind? Thousands of years ago, the Buddha taught a truth that many people today still haven't fully grasped. Worry doesn't protect us from suffering. It is a form of suffering. We think the more we worry, the safer we are. But in reality, the more we worry, the farther we drift from the present, the only place where life truly happens. Have you ever felt like you're alive, but your mind is trapped somewhere in the future? And here's the life-changing insight. If worry is something we unknowingly create, then it's also something we can learn to unravel. Not by forcing ourselves to be positive or pushing thoughts away, but by gently looking at the mind with clarity and presence. Through meditation, mindfulness, and understanding the impermanent nature of life, we can step out of the trap, where a single thought can spiral into a storm inside our hearts. In this video, we'll explore what Buddhism truly teaches about worry, not to escape reality, but to wake up within it. So let's begin this journey together and find a path back to inner peace from right here, within you. 1. Worry is the second arrow we shoot at ourselves. Have you ever tossed and turned late at night when the whole world is quiet, but your heart is in chaos? No noise around you, yet inside, it's loud. Thoughts, fears, imaginary scenarios, filling your chest with heaviness. One elderly Buddhist once came to the meditation hall and shared that whenever she thought about her son moving away, she felt deep anxiety. She said, "I know I should be happy for him, that he has his own life now. But in my head, all I see are bad things. What if he's lonely? What if he can't manage? What if something happens?" Then she lowered her eyes and whispered, "I'm just so tired from my own thoughts." Have you ever felt something like that? Not because something is happening, but because your mind builds a world full of what-ifs, and you can't seem to step out of it. The Buddha gave a powerful image for this. He said, "The first pain in life is like being shot with an arrow. It hurts, and that's unavoidable." But instead of treating the wound, we often shoot ourselves with a second arrow. That second arrow is worry. When we replay the pain, imagine more suffering, create scenarios that haven't even happened, and call it preparation. Think about it. How many things in life have you worried about that never actually happened? And yet, a single thought can make the heart race, the stomach tighten, the sleep vanish. Buddhism doesn't say we shouldn't care. Compassion is a core part of the path. But there's a fine line between caring and worrying. When the mind is present, we see what's truly happening, and we act if needed. But when the mind gets carried away, we react to assumptions, not reality. That's when the second arrow strikes. Through all the years of walking with older students, especially those living alone or going through big life changes, one thing is clear. They don't lack love. What they often lack is peace of mind. So, if you're holding some heavy worry in your chest right now, just pause. Place your hand over your heart, take a gentle breath, and ask, is this arrow from life, or did I shoot it myself? The moment you can see the second arrow, you've already begun to remove it. And that's the first step to returning to peace. Not by running away from worry, but by understanding it. Gently, one breath at a time. 2. An untrained mind is the root of worry. Have you ever felt like your mind is just a cluttered room? Noisy, busy, thoughts bouncing into each other one after another. You sit down to rest, but your mind keeps spinning. A comment someone made, a vague fear about tomorrow, a memory that still stings. Everything rushes around inside like traffic without signals. Now imagine this: a wild elephant, untrained, running loose in a marketplace, knocking over whatever's in its path. That's what the mind is like when it hasn't been trained. Powerful, but without direction. The Buddha used that exact image. He reminded us, if we don't care for the mind, it will create suffering, even when nothing around us is actually dangerous. Many older students have said something similar. I don't have big responsibilities anymore. My kids are grown. I've retired. Life is fairly stable. But still, every morning I wake up feeling unsettled. I don't even know why. That feeling doesn't always come from what's outside. It's the mind, not yet anchored in presence. Have you felt that before? When nothing specific is wrong, but the mind just drifts, creating stories and then believing in them? An untrained mind is like wind across a lake. The surface ripples, and everything becomes distorted. But if you sit still, just breathe gently, and watch those ripples with awareness, they begin to calm. The surface becomes still again, and you begin to see clearly. That's what meditation and mindfulness can do. Not to push thoughts away, but to look at them with calm. To stop getting swept up by every passing emotion. A trained mind is like a tamed elephant. It doesn't lose its strength. It gains direction. It learns to walk the path toward clarity, balance, and inner peace. Worry doesn't grow on its own. It grows when we forget to return to the root. And the root is always in the mind. So if today your mind feels chaotic, don't blame the world for being too loud. Instead, return to the one place that needs your care most. That gentle, wild elephant inside. Because when the mind rests, everything else starts to rest with it. 3. Letting go is not giving up its wisdom. We often hear the phrase, just let it go. But let's be honest, letting go is much easier said than done. Especially when you've spent a lifetime holding on to things that felt essential, a relationship, a role, a habit, or even just the way you thought life was supposed to go. Letting go can sound like giving up, like quitting. But is that really true? Picture this: a river flowing naturally. If you try to stop the water, it builds pressure, it overflows, it creates chaos. But if you learn to float with it, stay light, stay flexible, that very current will carry you safely forward. Letting go is like that. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means you're no longer resisting the natural movement of life. And that, my friend, is wisdom, not weakness. There was a man in his 60s I once listened to. He had just gone through a divorce after decades of marriage. He said, I don't even know who I am anymore. I used to be someone's husband, someone's father, someone responsible for everything. And now, I feel like I'm nobody. I looked at him gently and asked, are you really nobody, or are you finally getting the chance to be yourself? His eyes filled with tears, and then he cried. Here's the truth. We often can't let go because we think letting go means losing something. But the Buddha taught, everything is impermanent. What comes will go. What we cling to will eventually fall apart. Not because life is cruel, but because that's how life is. When you see this truth not just in your head, but in your heart, letting go is no longer a failure. It becomes freedom. It becomes a sign that the heart has matured. Have you ever held on to something so tightly, for so long, that it started to hurt you? Maybe it was a person, a dream, an expectation. You knew it was time to let go, but your heart still feared, still hesitated, still held on. That doesn't make you weak. That just means you're human. You're feeling. You're growing. And maybe, right at that moment when you finally soften your grip, take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, I don't need to fight this anymore. That's when peace begins to flow back in. Not because things went your way, but because you're no longer chained to needing them to. In the end, letting go isn't walking away from life. It's learning to walk with it, just more gently. 4. Worry is a sign of clinging, not compassion. Have you ever noticed that worry doesn't always come from what's happening, but from the fear of what might happen? Or worse, from the fear of losing what you already have? I remember an older woman once said to me, I don't know why I worry so much. My daughter is grown, she has a good job, a family of her own, and yet every day I feel afraid. Afraid she might be sad. Afraid something might happen. Afraid that one day we won't be close anymore. I sat quietly for a moment, then gently said, maybe your love for her is so big, but maybe you're also holding on just a little too tightly. And that's what's creating the fear. Have you ever felt that way? When you love someone deeply, trust something fully, a relationship, a job, a dream, and instead of feeling peaceful, you begin to fear losing it. Fear it might change. Fear it might slip out of your hands. In Buddhist teaching, there's an important word, upadana, which means clinging or attachment. When we cling to something, fear naturally arises. Fear it will leave. Fear it won't turn out right. Fear it won't stay the same. Worry doesn't come from reality. It comes from not accepting that all things are impermanent. Picture this, someone holding on to a handful of sand. They're squeezing it tight, thinking if they let go, they'll lose everything. But the tighter they hold, the more sand slips through their fingers. That's what clinging does. It doesn't help us keep anything. It just exhausts us. I've met people in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, still worrying like children. Not because they're fragile, but because no one ever taught them how to release the grip of the mind. They've spent years being parents, protectors, problem solvers, always holding on, always holding it together. But no one ever told them that at some point, it's okay to loosen the grip. It's okay to breathe again. The Buddha never told us to stop loving. He never said we should be numb. He taught us that true love comes not from owning or controlling, but from understanding and freedom. When you can look at someone you love, or a situation in your life, with an open heart, without needing to grip, to fear, to overthink, then you are living with awake compassion. And that's when worry begins to fade. Because you're not trying to hold on. You're simply showing up with presence, with care, and with softness. Like a flower that blooms without needing to be held. So if you feel overwhelmed with worry today, ask yourself gently, what am I clinging to? And if you can see it, truly see it, then you've already started the journey back to peace. 5. The present moment is the only place that's real and peaceful. Have you ever found yourself doing something simple? Cooking, walking, maybe just sitting with a cup of tea, but your mind was somewhere completely different? Your body's here, but your thoughts are stuck in yesterday, replaying something someone said, regretting what you could have done differently. Or maybe your mind's already worrying about tomorrow, a doctor's appointment, your health, your children's future. And in that moment, the only moment you're truly alive, it slips away like a breeze through your fingers. Have you ever felt that? It happens to all of us. The body is here, but the mind has wandered far, and it leaves us exhausted, sometimes without even knowing why. Because we've lost connection with the only place life actually happens, the present moment. The Buddha taught us that the past is just memory, and the future, no matter how many plans we make, is only imagination. Even the most vivid memory? Right now, it's just a thought. The future? It hasn't come. The only thing that's truly real is now. I remember an elderly gentleman in his 70s once shared something after a mild stroke. He said, "Teacher, I've realized something painful. I've spent most of my life chasing after responsibilities, always thinking, once I finish this, I'll finally rest. But that day never came. Because after one thing, there was always another." It's a deep truth, one that older hearts often feel more clearly than the young. There is no moment more precious than this one. Not tomorrow, not someday when things calm down, but right now, this breath, the sunlight touching your hand, the sound of birds outside your window, the warmth of tea in your cup. If you're fully present, that's peace. Imagine this. A cool stream flowing right beneath your feet, but you're too busy looking uphill to notice. Life is like that. If we don't stop, if we're not here, we'll keep searching for something that was always right beneath us. Mindfulness, or what we call awakened awareness, isn't something distant or mystical. It's the ability to come back to yourself, fully, in each moment. And right there, worry loses its grip. Because when you're truly present, the past can't pull you back, and the future can't make you afraid. The present is the only real gift you'll ever have. And it's the only place where peace can blossom. 6. Worry is a habit fed by fear and ignorance. Have you ever noticed how sometimes a feeling of worry creeps in and there's no clear reason for it? Nothing bad has happened. No one's done anything wrong. But inside, something just feels off. A quiet unease that won't leave. I've sat with many older students who've shared the same thing. One woman, around 65, once said, "I don't even know what I'm afraid of, but I feel it especially when I'm alone. My thoughts wander, and suddenly, I'm worried about everything." And when I asked, "Are you sure the thing you're worried about is even real?" she gave a sad smile and said, "No, but my heart still won't rest." Have you felt like that before? Often, worry doesn't come from reality. It comes from a mind that hasn't been trained, still shaped by avijja. What the Buddha called not seeing things clearly. We don't yet see that everything in life is impermanent, that nothing truly belongs to us, that clinging to anything, especially things that change, will eventually lead to suffering. According to the Buddha, everything has 3 basic truths. Anicca, impermanence. Anatta, no permanent self. Dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. But when we don't see clearly, even a small thought or memory can grow into a storm. The mind believes it, chases after it, and suddenly, we're caught in it. Picture your mind like a mirror. If the mirror is cloudy, what it reflects becomes distorted. A small situation feels like a crisis. A passing comment becomes a personal attack. The problem isn't the world, it's that the mirror hasn't been cleaned. And in that fog, worry finds its home. I often tell students, worry is not who you are. It's just a habit. A reflex built over years of fear and the belief that you must control everything, know everything, prepare for everything. But let's be honest. What in life is ever truly certain? The honest answer? Nothing. And strangely, when we stop pretending that we can control it all, when we accept that life moves, changes, and flows, something softens. Worry begins to fade, like mist under morning sunlight. This clarity isn't about gaining more knowledge. It's about seeing deeply, seeing life as it is. Worry isn't something you need to fight. You just need to understand it. to name it, to gently set it down like taking off a heavy backpack after a long journey. Take a breath, let your shoulders drop, and for a moment, just walk a little lighter. 7. Mindfulness is the key to breaking free from worry. Have you ever woken up in the morning with a heavy heart and no clear reason why? Like there's a dark cloud just hanging inside your chest, dimming the whole day before it even begins. Nothing bad has happened, but something still feels off. You ever felt like that? I've heard so many older friends and students share the same thing. They're retired. Their kids are grown. Life, on the surface, is stable. Yet inside, they feel uneasy. It's like worry moves in uninvited and just sits there, making it hard to breathe, hard to focus, hard to feel joy. And most of us respond by trying to push the feeling away. We distract ourselves. We tell ourselves, don't think about it. But the more we resist, the more drained we feel. It's like trying to swat away a cloud with your hands. You only stir up more wind and the sky gets darker. But the Buddha didn't teach us to fight emotions. He taught us to observe, just observe, without clinging, without judging, without getting swept away. That's mindfulness. It's the clear seeing that lets you say, this is worry. Then you breathe in, you breathe out, and you let it go. Imagine this. Your mind is the sky, and your thoughts and feelings, just passing clouds. Some dark, some light, some fast, some slow, but all temporary. If you remember that you are the sky, not the clouds, then you don't fear them anymore. One middle-aged woman shared something beautiful with me. Each morning, she sits quietly for a few minutes and simply names whatever emotion is present. Today, it's worry. She doesn't fix it. She just names it and breathes. And over time, she said, the worry's still there, but it doesn't control me anymore. Mindfulness isn't about making worry disappear. It's about learning to sit beside it peacefully, like sitting with a crying child, not scolding, not ignoring, just holding, listening, and waiting for it to calm. You don't have to be a monk to live mindfully. Just stop for a moment, place a hand on your chest, take a slow breath and say, I'm feeling worried, and that's okay. That alone is already a powerful step. Worry only survives when we avoid it. But when the light of mindfulness shines on it, it fades like morning fog under the sun. And in that stillness where you simply breathe and know you are alive, peace will come. Not because you chased it, but because it was always there, just behind the drifting clouds. 8. Meditation builds inner strength in the storm of worry. Have you ever had one of those days when your heart is full of things to think about, worry about, figure out, but nothing feels clear? Like you're standing in the middle of a storm, everything's spinning. A single word can sink your mood. One stray thought can tighten your chest. No one else sees it, but inside, a storm is brewing. An elderly Buddhist friend once told me, my heart feels like a lake with waves. That image stuck with me. As we get older, life may seem quieter on the outside, but inside, the waves can still rise. But imagine this. In the middle of that storm, there's a mountain. A place where the wind may blow, but it doesn't shake. A quiet center in the chaos. That's what meditation gives us. It's not about running away from your worries. It's about sitting down with them, without being swept away. When you sit not to do anything, but simply to be, you'll start to notice something remarkable. The thoughts come and go. The worries pass by and fade. And deep inside, you'll discover a still point that was never lost. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha said, just as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not shaken by praise or blame. It doesn't mean the wise don't feel pain or fear. It means they aren't drowned by them. Meditation doesn't have to be lofty. You don't need hours on a mountaintop. Just a few minutes a day fully present with your breath, with your body, and you're planting seeds for inner steadiness. A woman in her 60s once told me, "I sit quietly just 10 minutes each morning. I don't expect anything. I just breathe. But on days I skip it, I get irritated, sad, anxious more easily." Meditation won't change the world outside you, but it changes how you meet that world. When your heart is steady like a mountain, even in the strongest winds, you have a place to return to. Maybe right now you're going through something heavy. Maybe worry is all around you. But meditation doesn't ask you to be okay first. In fact, it's when you're not okay, that's when you need it most. Because sometimes, what we really need isn't one more thing to do, but just to sit still and face the storm so we can see the wind can never carry away a mountain. 9. Trusting the natural flow of life is a deep spiritual practice. There are times in life when everything seems to shift too fast. A lifelong friend stops calling. Your health isn't what it used to be. Your role, your work, even how others see you suddenly feel like they're slipping through your fingers. And our natural reaction? Worry. Try to control things. Hold tightly to whatever's familiar. But in moments like these, one gentle question can change the entire direction of our inner life. What if I stopped resisting? Have you ever watched a tree in autumn? It doesn't try to cling to its leaves. It doesn't panic when the wind blows strong or when the night brings frost. It just stands still, not because it's powerless, but because it understands. Seasons come and seasons go. The tree doesn't fear shedding its leaves because it trusts the rhythm of nature. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanentanica. Nothing stays the same. And that's not bad news. In fact, it's because things change that sorrow passes, loss softens, and healing becomes possible. I remember a man in his 70s who told me, after his wife passed, he felt like he no longer belonged to life. Every morning began with a hollow space. He tried everything to fill it, reading the paper, gardening, watching television. But the emptiness stayed. Then one day, he just stopped. He didn't try to fix it. He sat by the window and watched the morning light fall on her empty chair. He said quietly, "I realized I don't need to fill the emptiness. I just need to let it be." And somehow, I felt peaceful. When we stop resisting change, something unexpected happens. We're no longer hurt by the change, because it's not the change itself that breaks us but our struggle against it. Life is like a river. If we try to force it to flow a certain way, we create blocks. But if we allow it to curve, rush, slow, twist, we start to understand life more deeply. Trusting the flow of life isn't about theory. It's an inner practice, a quiet acceptance that we can't control everything, but we can learn to move with life instead of fighting it. And when the heart lets go like the branch releasing a leaf, like a river shifting course, we discover something strange and beautiful. In the middle of uncertainty, there's a steady place. You're no longer resisting life. You're walking alongside it with mindful steps and an open heart. 10. The more we try to control, the more anxious we feel. Here's something many people experience, especially after passing the halfway mark of life. The urge to control everything starts growing. What will happen to the kids? Is my health okay? Will the future be safe? What if something unexpected happens tomorrow? Do you ever feel like if you don't manage it all, plan, fix, prepare, everything will fall apart? But here's the twist. The more we try to control, the more unsettled we become. A retired man once told me that after leaving his job, he focused all his energy on controlling everything at home. What his family should eat, where they should go, how they should talk. He believed that if he managed it all well, peace would follow. But instead, he grew tired, short-tempered, and hollow inside. His kids didn't grow distant because they stopped loving him, they just couldn't breathe. According to the Buddha's teachings, this isn't surprising. Over-control is often a sign that we haven't accepted impermanence. When we refuse to let things change, when we want others to match our expectations, when we fear loss, that's when we fight reality itself. And that inner resistance drains us. Imagine holding a fistful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. But if you gently open your hand, the sand rests quietly. Our minds are the same. The more we grasp, worry, plan, the more exhausted we become. But when we release gently, not abandoning responsibility, but letting go of pressure, we give the heart room to breathe. A Zen teacher once said, "The less you control, the more free you are." Because control doesn't protect us from suffering, it only wears us out with constant fear and vigilance. And one day, we may realize we've traded away our inner peace just to feel safe. So instead of controlling, maybe we're being called to trust, to believe we can handle whatever comes, to trust that our kids will grow, to trust that life, even in hard times, has its own current. And when we dare to loosen the grip a little, when we slow down just a bit, we realize peace doesn't come from holding on to everything. It comes when we know when to let go and give peace the space to return. 11. The body lives in the present, but the mind wanders to the future. Have you ever been doing something simple, washing the dishes, walking in the yard, sipping your tea, when suddenly you realize your mind is somewhere far away, thinking about unpaid bills, a doctor's appointment next week, or a comment someone made years ago, and in that moment you realize, I'm not really here. This happens to so many people, especially as we get older. When life outside begins to slow down, the mind often speeds up. It drifts from what has already happened to what might happen next, while the body just sits there, breathing, feeling strangely empty. The Buddha saw this clearly. The body is always in the present moment, but the mind, it often lives in the past or the future. And when the mind no longer rests in the body, we lose ourselves. We lose the most precious thing, this present moment. It's like this. You're at a family gathering. The food is delicious. Your grandchildren are laughing. The sun is shining gently through the windows. But your mind is caught up in an old memory or future worry. So, even though you're physically there, your heart is not. Mindfulness, as the Buddha taught, is the gentle art of bringing the mind back to the body. When you're washing your hands, you know you're washing your hands. When you're walking, you feel each step. It sounds simple, but this practice is a quiet kind of liberation. Because when body and mind reunite, life truly begins again. An elderly woman once told me that every morning she just sits quietly, not some complicated meditation, just breathing and noticing each inhale and exhale. She said, "In those moments, I feel like I'm coming back to myself, like waking up from a long, drifting dream." The beautiful thing is, mindfulness doesn't require us to change our circumstances. It only asks us to be fully present in the ones we already have. Whether you're brewing tea, folding laundry, or listening to the birds outside, if your mind is with you, your life deepens. The Buddha once said, "Live as if each moment is your last." Not to scare us, but to remind you this very moment is sacred. Because life has never lived in the past or future. It's always been right here, just waiting for us to come home. 12. Worry doesn't mean you care. It often means you're holding on too tight. Here's something many people confuse, especially after living through a lot. They believe worrying means they care, that not worrying means they're being cold or unloving. If I don't stress about it, am I being heartless? But the truth is different. And sometimes, that misunderstanding is what's exhausting us the most. An older mother once shared this with me. My daughter has her own life now, her own family. But if she doesn't call for a few days, I start worrying. I fear she's sad. I worry something's wrong. And the more I worry, the more I get upset. And I silently blame her for not checking in. Then she paused and said softly, I thought that was love, but maybe I've been clinging to her too much. Have you ever felt like that? Many people confuse worry with love. But from the Buddhist view, worry doesn't always come from pure compassion. Often, it comes from attachment. We don't just care, we want things to go our way. We want our loved ones to be safe and to live how we think is right. We want them happy, but only on our terms. In Pali, attachment is called upadanawen. The mind not only holds on to something, but binds itself to it. When our love comes with fear of losing, fear of change, or a need to control, it turns into a kind of entrapment. The Buddha taught that true compassion doesn't cling. It wants well-being for others without strings attached. It doesn't demand. It doesn't exhaust itself with anxiety. When the mind is clear, even love feels light. No pressure, no guilt, no need to fix everything. A grandmother who practiced meditation once said, I still love my children and grandchildren just as much, but now I don't worry. Like before, if they're happy, I'm grateful. If something happens, I pray silently for their strength. I don't carry their burdens. I don't try to fix it all. I simply stay peaceful and let my love grow bigger, not tighter. Sometimes, the greatest gift we can offer the ones we love is not anxiety, but trust. Not control, but calm presence. Not carrying their fear, but holding space with compassion. Because sometimes, worry doesn't mean you care. It just means you're clinging. And when you loosen your gripe just a little, real love begins to bloom, deep, calm, and free. We've now explored many layers of worry, where it comes from, how it's tied to control, to fear, to an untrained mind. We've learned how to watch our worries, like passing clouds, so we don't get swept away, but instead return to the quiet center within. The Buddha never promised life would be easy, but he showed us this. The pain isn't in what happens, it's in how we respond. And worry, when seen clearly, can become a doorway. A doorway back to peace. In the end, what we're truly seeking isn't a perfect, worry-free life, but a steady heart tone that can remain open and whole, even when life changes all around us. So if this video has touched something in you, if you see yourself in these stories, or felt your breath slow down while listening, leave a comment below. Click like and share this message so peace can reach more hearts. And don't forget to subscribe to Buddhism Seeds so we can keep walking this path together with mindfulness, with understanding, with a peaceful heart, even in a changing world. Wishing you a calm, mindful day, right here, right now.